Hello and welcome to Company Secretary News. I'm your host Alok. I'm a company secretary in practice and I really love teaching students. And in this series, we are going to give you news about Company Secretary Institute and the case laws, and most importantly, some amendments and also business news. And in this week's episode, we will start with ICSI news. ICSI has its national awards and they give awards like Best Secretarial Audit Report, Best Practicing Company Secretary Firm, and also Lifetime Achievement Award for Company Secretaries. I hope you too will get this award one day. Please do work towards it. And this year the awards was announced and this will encourage members to work harder. Next news is that ICSI has taken an initiative called EEE, Evaluate, Excel and Enable the members who want to get knowledge in the securities market. And part of the series, there will be lectures and knowledge building activities from experts in the company secretary field. So this way members will constantly keep learning. I always tell you, in ICSI or company secretary profession or any professional course, we have to have lifelong learning. So even if you are 50 or 60 years old as a member, you are always having something to learn, and ICSI has many programs to enable you to learn. Another very good news is that ICSI has collaborated with NISM, which is giving you online certificate course for corporate and security laws. So this is a great initiative. NISM has hundreds of courses, and this new course which will be jointly given by ICSI and NISM. For more details, do follow NISM website. Very soon they will give it. Right now announcement has happened. The course will be launched very soon. Now moving on to amendment news, and in this week's amendment, you may feel it's a small amendment, but it is going to make a very big difference for corporates and also for our profession of company secretaries. Yes, I'm talking about the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which has given a notification of Central Processing Center, CPC. And before we understand that, you should know some basics. Let me explain. First thing is that whenever we file a form to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, broadly speaking, there are two kinds of forms. One is called as STP, straight through processing forms, and the second one is non-STP, that is, which is not straight through processing. In straight through processing, what happens is, for example, a company secretary or a director of a company would have signed the document, and that acts as a pre-certification, and we file it on the MCA portal. Immediately the form gets approved. So there is nobody from the MCA who is looking at it and then they're giving approval. It's not like that. It is straight through. As soon as you file, it is approved. The non-straight through process is exactly the opposite. Once we file a form, there is an official of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It could be ROC, it could be any other official who will look at the form. Only if it is correct, they will approve it. So there is a time lag in the non-STP forms. So things which are more serious or which has much more complex nature was non-STP forms. But with this STP and non-STP, there was also an element of corruption. Yes, unfortunately, even for something like incorporation, I remember in 2009 and 10, it used to take 4 to 5 months for a simple incorporation because the forms were all at the registrar of company level, and India has so many different states, so many different registrar of companies, and it was not easy to get things approved. So finally, the government came up with the first type of reforms, which came in 2016, and 2016 was mainly about CRC, Central Registration Center. So all the companies which had to be registered, we could file the form directly to the MCA portal, but the form used to go not to ROC, but the form used to go to the CRC, Central Registration Center. So that way, all the forms in India will be centralized in one place. That is why central registration, so in one place, and people there will be focused, and people there will be having specialization only on incorporation. So things will be fast like a factory system. So this was a great move. Then also MCA brought out one more thing called a CSEET, Central Scrutiny Center. I told you about STP forms. So STP form, we file it and it gets approved immediately, but still government wants to check if everything is correct. So for that they made a separate center called Central scrutiny center which scrutinizes all the straight through processing forms. Correct? That is the second great thing which they did. Third thing was CPACE. For all the companies which are going through strike off, there was this third center called as CPACE, that is centralized center where we file all the forms relating to strike off. For example, there is a form called STK2. If a company is closing, we have to file form STK2. For people who are already in offices, you know this. And even if you are studying in executive program, you know this, you have studied it in strike off related chapter. Earlier, I myself have seen, sometimes we have filed a STK2, it has taken 1 year for approval. 1 year, because the form used to go to the registrar of companies. So if I am in Bangalore, it will go to registrar of companies in Karnataka. If I am in Tamil Nadu, it can go to Chennai or Coimbatore ROC, that is registrar of companies, and things were very slow. Now, thanks to CPACE, the same STK2 form will take 7 to 10 days or maximum 15 days. Just imagine, from 6 months, it has come down to 7 to 10 days. That is the third important center. And now, from 6th February 2024, government has brought the Central Processing Center, CPC, and in CPC, we will be having all the non-STP forms. Yes. So first was incorporation. What was that? CRC. Then CSC, Central Scrutiny Center, for STP forms to be processed. Then CPACE, that is for companies which are closing down under strike off. And now the final step, which is a great move and great amendment. These are small boring amendments which will change the entire corporate world, and this is a great move. Things will get faster, and what will happen most importantly is, because all non-STP forms will go to the Central Processing Center, you may ask me the question, sir, then what will registrar of companies do? What will regional director do? If everything goes to these 4 centers, and now latest from 6th February we have the 4th center, which is Central Processing Center, what will ROC do? What work do they have? Please remember that now ROC has time to scrutinize the companies, to levy penalties, and they'll get very strict. This is a great move. And when ROC gets more strict, obviously companies will start taking compliance more seriously. And when they take compliance more seriously, tell me, whom are they going to call? Obviously, company secretaries and practicing company secretaries. So this is a small amendment. It may seem like, what is so great? One CPC has come, already there were 3, but this is going to be a huge game changer for entire corporate sector, and all the companies will be very happy because things will start happening much faster right now because of the centralized processing centers and the other 3 centers which I told you. And it is obviously good news for company secretaries. So this is why I tell, every week there are a lot of things happening which is actually enabling our profession. This week's case law is Fine Gems Export Private Limited, and in this case we learned 2 things. First thing is about ultra vires, and second thing is about section 10 subsection 1 of Companies Act. We all know the famous Ashbury Railway Carriage Company case. We studied in ultra vires. That means a company cannot do anything which is over and above its powers within the memorandum. And in that case, we learned that if company does it, it becomes beyond the powers and it is null and void. The company cannot do that activity. So if company really wants to do, they should have a amendment to the memorandum objectives. So in this Fine Gems case, what happened is, there was a company which was incorporated, and in the year 2015-16, they had an objective of real estate. So they bought a land and they wanted to do real estate activity. But then that land was acquired by the government. They also got compensation. Yes, there was no cheating there. But this company could not do real estate business. So what did they do? They started to do financial business. That means they started to lend the money, which they cannot do. Their memorandum said it is a real estate company. But they did ultra vires. They did something which is not within their memorandum. It was not allowed. So finally the adjudication order came, and it was a clear violation of section 10 subsection 1, and it was an ultra vires transaction. And that is why they were imposed a penalty of 1,41,000, and more importantly, they lose their name in the market. So this is a clear case of ultra vires. And even if you see our previous episodes, simple compliances are being missed by companies, and it is very costly. It can be as big as having to close the company. So it is time companies start taking compliance seriously, and when they take compliance seriously, we are the first ones, the company secretaries, who benefit from it. In this week's business news, we have a very interesting case. Here, HDFC Bank Group has acquired 9.5% in 6 banks. That is Yes Bank, IndusInd Bank, ICSI Bank, Axis Bank, Suryodaya Small Finance Bank and Bandhan Banks. So why 9.5%? A business group cannot acquire more than 10% in any bank. So 9.9% is the maximum. That is because banks are highly regulated. And whenever there is a approval needed for RBI, it is when more than 5% of a bank's paid up share capital is taken over, because banks are very highly regulated. Public money is at stake. So in this week's news, please be aware that HDFC Bank Group has acquired 9.5% stake in these 6 banks, and RBI has given the approval for this. So like this, I wish you to follow our company secretary news in all the future episodes. Thanks a lot for encouraging us, and also I always want to thank all the students who give extremely negative comments on our YouTube channel. It is those comments which inspire us to come back every week to show evidence. And as always I tell, please show me the proof to show why CS has no scope, because I am showing you the proof how the scope is growing every week. I will see you in the next week. Thank you very much.